Hello class, my name is Jennifer Zertuche. I am presenting a presentation on Hesiod. Here is an agenda. This is the introduction. This is about Hesiod, his areas of achievement, timeline, quotes, summary, and cites. Here's an introduction. Hesiod was a farmer in Boeotia, and he was a master at his work, which was Greek poetry. He became a poet in 750 and 650 BC, which was a very long time ago. He was known as the father of Greek because of his magnificent poems and what he wrote about. His point of view was, in many of his poems, was about the birth of gods and how they were created in the world. Also about how the human condition should live. Hesiod was born in Sem in 776 BC. He lived in the 8th and 7th century BC. He was an ancient Greek poet. His parents were Paikimid and Dios. He died in Askra and buried at Orchomenius, which is a small town in Boeotia. He was born in Sem in 776 BC. Here is a couple of images of leftover the buildings that were left over, the little pieces. Here is Sem money, and here is a map of Sem in 776 BC. His areas of achievement. He's noted as the father of Greek. And here's a pretty image of the sky. Hesiod's books. Here's 5 that I personally I took them out of the San Antonio Library to read them and to study them. The 2 books that are my faves are the Catalog of Women, which is this green book over here, and Hesiod and Theogony and Working Days. That one describes how the Greek gods were, or the birth of the gods. And in the Catalog of Women, that one is my favorite because it describes how Hesiod and his image of women and how they were immortal and strong, independent. And here's another book. It's called Hesiod and the Language of Poetry. Hesiod, Working Days, and the Poems of Hesiod. Hesiod's books and poems. Theogony and Working Days is about humanity and how Greeks began to work. The poems of Hesiod, about different poems such as Working Days, Theogony, and Shield of Hercules. The Shield of Hercules is about a massive fight between Hercules and the greatest Greek heroes, and the shield he always used while he was in war. Theogony is about the birth of the gods. And the Shield Catalog of Women and Other Fragments is what I just mentioned in the other template. It's about mortal women who are initially beautiful, strong, heroine, women of honor. Hesiod was famous for his book of Theogony, and here's images of the birth of the gods in his view of the birth of gods. Hesiod was famous for the Theogony, birth of gods. 1 through 35 BC, Hesiod observed the calling for the muses. 116, 125, creation of Chaos and Gaia, Tartarus, and Eros. The 9 muses they are 9 women who are in charge of different callings. So Hesiod writes and calls on the 9 muses. Their names is Urania, she's in charge of astronomy. Polymia, she's in charge of hymns, which means a song of praise. Melopeme is in charge of tragic theater. And Thalia, she's in charge of comedic theater. Cleo, she's in charge of history. Calliope, she's in charge of epic poetry. Euterpe, she's in charge of song and elegant poetry. Terpsichore, she's in charge of dance. And Erato, she's in charge of clinical poetry. That's 135 BC. 116, 125, creation of chaos, which is the universe. And Gaia, she's a creation of earth. Tartarus, he is in charge of the underworld. And Eros, he's in charge of desire and love. 125, 131 BC. Caius is in transition to give life to Nyx. Nyx is in charge of the night. She is another immortal god. 132, 139 BC. Uranus is sky, and Gaia, she's earth. They both conceived the 12 titans. The titans are the soldiers that were in war. And 154, 206 was creation of Aphrodite. 207, 232, ancestors and the sin of evil with Nyx. And once again, Nyx is the creator of night. 375, 403 BC, creation of Creos and Eurybia and their offsprings. 617, 663, Zeus enrolls the hundreds, handlers, and waits on Mount Olympus for war. The 100 handlers and Zeus fight for land, and Zeus wins against the Titans in 664, 719 BC. And here's an image of the 100 handlers. 728-19, the Titans were cast down to underworld with Tartarus to punish and torture the Titans, which they were all sent down to the underworld. 886-911, they were trapped in hell. And Typhorus is a giant, and he is the son of Gaia and Tartarus. The chaos universe had been divided into 3. Chaos was the universe, and he divided himself into the sky, Hades, and the sea. Mortals, 963, 968 BC. Mortals and immortals. Hesiod calls on the muses over and over, and he calls and tells them how they sleep with, or how women sleep with mortal men. Here's an image of chaos. Here's an image of Gaia. Here's an image of the 9 muses. Here's an image of Tartarus. Let me go back one more time. The 9 Muses. Gaia. She's creator of earth and all living organisms and one of the first immortal goddesses. There's Caius, he's the creation of universe. The 9 Muses, knowledge of dance, music, poetry, literature, art, astronomy, history, flute, and tragedy. Tartarus, he is the creator of the underworld, in other words, hell. He would torment the rebellious people and punish and he prisoned the Titans. Here is an image of Tartarus. Here's the creation of Tartarus. Here is the entry of the underworld, Tartarus, and all of the punishment that they went through here. And here is an image of Tartarus and the Titans. Eros, he is the creator of intimacy, intercourse, love, and desire. Here's an image of the creation of Eros. This is Eros. He always carries a bow and arrow, and he has wings, he can fly, and when he feels that a Greek goddess or a god or just an immortal person is ready for love, intimacy, desire, he strikes their hearts with his bow and arrow, and they go from there. And he's also the son of Aphrodite and the Greek god of war, which is Ares. Here's Nyx that I was speaking of in the beginning on my timeline for Hesiod and his Theogony. She is the creator of night, and she is an immortal goddess. And here is a picture of her. Hemera, she is another goddess that was born in the Theogony. She is the creator of day, and her purpose was to light the day. Here's an image of her. And here is Erebus. Erebus is the creator of darkness. Chaos, which is the universe, he is the chaos. Chaos is his father. He is the son of chaos. Here are some other first gods that were in Hesiod's Theogony's timeline. Here's Aether. He is the Greek god of brightness. Oeria, he is the Greek god of mountains. Pontus, he is the Greek god of the sea. And Uranus, he is the Greek god of the sky. Here's an image of Hesiod, the father of poetry. Here's one of Hesiod's quotes. Badness you can get easily in quantity. The road is smooth and it lies close by. but in front of excellence the immortal gods have put the sweat of our brows. I've chosen this quote because it seems like Hesiod is trying to say that there's bad everywhere you go, and there is a road ahead, and the work is done here. So keep moving on toward the future because the gods have prepared the road ahead of us. Hesiod on working days. In this book, in this poem, he describes how he was in working days, which means they were farming, cropping, and in agriculture. And in Hesiod on working days, it describes. And here's a picture. And here is an image of the catalog of women. It is my favorite book. He speaks highly about women and how women are mortal, strong heroines. Heroines means strong-willed women, beautiful women, which are immortal goddesses. Hesiod died in Askra. Here is a picture of Askra. And here is a map of Askra. The presentation includes the bibliography of Mr. Hesiod, his books and poems, and his description of different times during the Archeneid period. I've applied pictures to my presentation for the audience to enjoy and get a better view of what Greek gods might have looked like, or how they look like in certain eras. I've enjoyed putting this presentation together to enjoy and share my presentation with my class, with our class. Thank you. Once again, my name is Jennifer Ann Zertuche. My professor is Alfredo Torres. I'm in Humana 1301-049. And my email is jzertuche38.student.alamo.edu. Thank you, class.